So I want to talk a little bit about many of my UK subscribers were upset about the comment that I made in yesterday's video about England or the UK not being bothered by putting together a meet and greet. I want to talk a little bit about what happened in London and I guess maybe kind of what was on my mind when I made that comment. So I have, from the time that I was just little, always looked forward to going to England. My grandfather was in World War II, and he fought in the Second World War with a lot of the British soldiers and held them in such a high regard and always spoke kindly of them. And I am, there's no bigger fan of English history, and especially English naval history. And I've read all of your top 100 classics, and I've read everything from Dickens to you name it, everything that's available in my local library. And so I had, and I also a lot of the stuff that I read are certainly from the turn of the century, very old, and so I had these wonderful expectations of England and its people and the incredible culture and the history and the things that they had done, and perhaps they were unrealistic because when we arrived. It was very different than the expectations that I had had, and I will certainly admit my expectations were probably unrealistic. But there were so many things. When we arrived, the people were a lot of instances where people were not very friendly and very short with us. And I remember going into one place and ordering some food at a local pub near where we were staying, and I had a backpack on, and there were four guys about my age or so that were there after work having a beer. And when I turned, I think my backpack came close to one of them, and I didn't. Uh, it was purely accidental, and they got very aggressive and postured and made a lot of derogatory comments. And as soon as they realized, when I immediately apologized that it wasn't intentional, that I was an American, things got worse. Walking down the streets, comments when I would be speaking with my family or something, you'd hear people making snide and derogatory comments about us being Americans and tourists, and in fact, and that's what we were. And we don't understand a lot of the things. There was a lot of impatience. I got to the point where I was almost didn't want to go up and order food anywhere because people were so impatient that I wasn't speaking fast enough, or I didn't know the lingos of the logo, or asking for directions. There were a lot of those things, and it was just not what I was expecting. And yeah, every day I would get up and think, okay, well, yeah, we had some bad experiences, and some people didn't treat us very well, and this, but today will be different because I like to engage with folks, especially when I'm traveling, and talk to them, and when you try to do that with many people in London, or it was my experience, they look at you like you're very strange, and I don't I I don't know. It was just it was one time we talked to a fellow that was living there and had been born in England, and we were asking him about some of these incredible historical sites that we had visited, and what his take on that, and said something that really shocked me, was that I don't know, I mean, I'd never seen them before. And as I stood looking at these amazing places with this incredible history, this unbroken line of history that only the English have, and whether it be Westminster or St. Paul's or many of the museums that we went to, and people going by and living there, and they don't seem to care. It doesn't seem to matter to them. And I was saddened to see how filthy the city was, and how people, bad tabloid magazines, and people throwing litter down, and not looking after things, and not taking pride in their rich heritage and city. And it was just thing after thing after thing. And Mrs. W, she never has anything bad to say about anyone, but even she towards the end said, that this mystique that I had held for England, or for, we can't say England, London, is tarnished. It's certainly somewhat diminished, because they're just everyone seemed to be so self-centered and so selfish. Not everyone. That's wrong because we met some wonderful people. We had a wonderful experience with a family that took us out to a beautiful dinner, and we met many of the older gentlemen and ladies as well that worked in the some of the museums that were in late 60s to 70s that really personified that